Hi, it's Justin, and we are approaching the end of our semester, and I just wanted to do my final vlog here and kind of check in to see, um, discuss how I'm doing now that I've kind of digested a lot of the learning, and talk about where I'm at now in my reflective practices. I feel like I'm really improving. I feel more confident when it comes to reflecting. I'm very eager to try it out in my classrooms. Um, I feel like I've got this toolbox of various strategies now that I really feel like when it's time to develop my practices, I can really go into it, and I think my students are really going to benefit from a lot of the things that I've learned. I can't wait to see the impact I have on these students. Chapter 7 of the Teach, Reflect, Learn textbook actually gave me a lot of great strategies that I wanted to I would like to investigate more, but I'm going to talk about a couple of them that I really liked. One of the ones that Chapter 7 had mentioned was a reflective journal. Having the ability to record your learning, or record your reflective thoughts, keep a record that you can go back and reflect and notice your growth, notice your changes, and be able to say, okay, I started here and now I'm here, is a really positive and very encouraging thing, and it makes you really feel like, you've done this, what more can you do? So I think documenting your learning is really important as a reflective practitioner, and I think our reflective journal is also a great place to have a goal documented, and you can also record progress towards your goal, etc. I also think that a reflective journal shouldn't necessarily be something that's private. I think that it could be shared with people in let's say a professional learning network, or maybe some colleagues or administration team from school that can share responsibility in your growth as an educator, or in my growth as an educator. And I think that because reflecting is such a team activity, even if it's self-reflecting, I think it takes a village to help a person self-reflect. So I think sharing this journal with everybody that can get all these ideas from different people, I think it's important, and I think that it'll enable a lot of change. Another strategy that Chapter 7 had mentioned that I really liked was setting some time aside in your lesson plan to create detailed reflective planning for your lessons that are approaching. So an example of this would be reflecting on previous lessons that you've participated in, gathering information, gathering data, maybe a formative assessment or something like that, and like an exit ticket, and using that information to guide your next lesson, but more specifically anticipating what issues you're going to see with your students, what questions they're going to have, knowing your students and knowing where they're coming from and knowing what your goal is. It's really a great way to sit and reflect and realize, okay, this is where I need to be, how can I get there? And then it'll really allow you to plan step by step what you need to do, how you're going to accomplish this for each student, for them all to be successful. I think that's going to be a vital step in leading great lessons, and I really look forward to trying that out. Looking at the Ontario College of Teachers professional standards of practice, reflection really plays a large role in that. It doesn't say outright that a teacher must participate in self-reflection, but when you look at the standards of practice, it's very obvious that the Ontario College of Teachers expects teachers to conduct self-reflection. First of all, the standard of practice of commitment to student learning expects. I mean, how can we show our commitment to student learning if we're not willing to reflect on what we've previously done to improve the lessons and make sure that each of them are being taught? I think that we need to examine what had happened previously and plan around that. Maybe if something didn't go right, then we plan. And I think that helps us meet all the needs. Maybe a student has a specific need and really needs, you know, their learning needs met for whatever reason. That might be maybe a learning disability, maybe a multiple learning style method or whatever. But if we've reflected on that, then we've paid attention to the needs of the student, and we've committed to making sure that all of our students are learning the way that they need to be doing. And by engaging in this self-reflection, we ensure that we're growing as teachers, and really our students deserve that. Another one of the standards of practice is professional learning. And I know that the professional learning standpoint was really intended for like professional development sessions, attending seminars, attending workshops, etc. like that. But I think that self-reflection is a form of professional learning. It's helping you learn how to improve on things that you've done. It's learning how to meet your goals. It's learning how to meet the expectations your students might have or your school community might have. And yeah, I think without a doubt that self-reflection is definitely a vital part in professional learning, which is another OCT professional standard of practice. So now that we're at the end of the course, I've taken the self-assessment from the TRL again, and I've noticed I am still in the action phase, so that hasn't changed since the beginning of the course. But what has changed is now I feel that is where I belong. So before I felt, if you remember a couple of vlogs back, I was saying that it said that I was in the action phase, but I felt maybe I was more in the conscious phase. But now I definitely feel like I'm in the action phase. I've started making progress towards implementing things. I'm doing that more regularly. I'm not really stuck with how to do things. I've actually started my own reflective journal. Very basically, a very basic reflective journal is nothing too great, but I've started detailing moments when I've started to reflect, and I've got a little goal for myself in there, and I'm excited to see how that plays out. So yes, I don't feel like I'm just in the conscious phase anymore. I definitely feel like I'm a reflective practitioner now, and I feel like there's more that I can do, but I'm well on my way to beginning that now. In the future, a goal that I've got, and this is actually the goal that's in my reflective journal right now, is to begin using differentiated instruction more in my lesson planning and to use it more effectively. I know it's something that I need to do, but it is something that I struggle a little bit with during my lesson planning. So I feel that reflecting upon that now, I realize that if I conduct detailed reflective planning more effectively, I can figure out what the needs of my students are and how best to apply them in advance of the needs arising. And I think that that's really going to help. It's going to be a goal that's not going to happen overnight, but I think if I continue using my journal and I continue talking to colleagues to really get some new strategies going, I think I have all the tools to be able to do that. In conclusion, I'd like to just send a shout out and a thanks to Kristen for all the hard work that she's put into the course. I've learned a lot. I can now say that I feel like I am a reflective practitioner, and I feel like a lot of the learning that I've done has far surpassed what my expectations were for this course originally, and I definitely feel prepared for my future as a self reflective practitioner. All right, thanks. Bye.